So Year 11s, I've created this to give you a bit of assistance with the revision for Othello. The drive in question is like an arch that goes right across the entire play, and this should help you when you're making your judgments, your links or judgments, because remember we are still using the structure of PEEL, and this is where you get to merit and excellence. So if you are able to answer this type of question, teenagers, remember that refers to the readers navigating a corrupt world, and that refers back to the world that Othello and Desdemona were part of. The point being that the world they were part of and the prejudice that they felt is not that dissimilar to the world in which we find prejudice and corruption. So let's have a look at some past exam papers. The first thing we need to remember is that there are always two parts to a question, and you've got to make it clear that you've understood both parts of the question. The other thing is to look for keywords like helped you to understand, because there they actually want some personal judgments. Okay, so having a look at number 1, describe a key relationship between two or more characters and explain how you understood these characters better. So I think the key relationship I would look at is probably between Iago and Othello. Of course, you can then bring Desdemona in as well. Looking at number 2, they say, this pen's not working properly. They say describe at least one important decision that a main character or individual had to make, and explain how the decision affected the character or events throughout the text. So we're only looking at an important decision by a main character, so it might be the decision that Othello made to trust Iago and how that changed the course of events in the play. Right, we're on to number 3. Just redo that. We're on to number 3, and it's describe at least one idea. Remember, we want a theme that is relevant to people in today's society. And that's the second part. So remember to use those words. They're keywords. They've got to be reflected throughout your answer. And explain why the idea is relevant to people in today's society. So your idea might be jealousy, it might be prejudice, it might be class structure, but you've got to keep on linking it back to modern society. And then number 4, describe at least one important setting, and remember setting is time or place, and explain how that showed the writer's ideas. So there again we have a theme question, and it's quite nice because it'll tie in very nicely with the world Shakespeare created for us. Hit the pause button and see if you can do that same exercise of unpacking what these questions were asking. But have a very good look at number 6, because what they're asking there is for one technique in a written text that helped to show the writer's idea. So that's theme, but it is also very specific when they say technique. So you would have to be looking at things like style, and with style comes soliloquies, iambic pentameter, rhyming couplets, those sorts of things. So you'll really need to brush up on your techniques for that question. It would also look at things like symbolism, structure ties back in with style. So if you're going to do a technical question like that, you really need to know what you're talking about. The next few slides are there as refreshers. You need to go over and make sure that you can remember all these terms and what they mean. So if you do decide to do that technical question number 6, you should be making reference to the following terms. Even if you don't do that question, it's wise to use words like these, because that shows that you've really studied your Shakespeare as well as accurate quotes. Again, I'd hit the pause button and have a look at this to help you with making your linking or judgments. Remember, we're looking at issues that go beyond the text and that could occur in modern times as well. Have a good think about the themes and ideas contained in Othello. Remember, if it's a theme or idea-based question, you must talk about character. If it's a character-based question, you must also talk about themes. So this is really important that you come to grips with and understand how to talk about these and, of course, how to quote. Remember, once you've worked through this presentation, you'll need to go back to the folder and click on these links to have a look at what other people have said about Othello. These key aspects are what drive the whole play and give it momentum. So have a look at their relationship, and you might want to look at their relationship prior to Cassio's downfall, and then their relationship with Iago's involvement, and then finally at the end, the downfall. Looking at Desdemona and Cassio's relationship, if they hadn't been friends, perhaps Iago wouldn't have had the chance to plant that seed of doubt. Look at the atmosphere in Cyprus as opposed to the atmosphere in Venice, which is what Desdemona had grown up and been used to. This is an overarching one. Iago's impression of woman. Think of the way he treats his wife. Think of the way he treats Desdemona. And then, of course, I've mentioned Cassio's downfall, and that really is a catalyst for all that continues afterwards. Okay, so Iago is really vital. Make sure that you've got some quotes and some ideas about him. The main thing is he's a villain that appears to be motiveless.